Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 3. Last time we finished this DLC over here, and today we will tackle the second and also the last DLC of this game. But I'm doing some things different now than in this DLC. I'm trying to go through the DLC more slowly. Maybe I'm trying to to analyze things more thoroughly, maybe not, doesn't matter. But I'm making not necessarily shorter episodes, but I'm making more episodes out of this DLC. This has a few reasons. First of all, I don't want to rush through things. I want to be a bit more thorough, I want to be a bit more analytical, whatever. And second of all, this DLC is also a bit bigger, I think, than this one. At least in my mind it's still bigger. We have like two larger areas in the upcoming DLC. So I feel like I need more episodes than just two. I mean, one episode, no shot, but two episodes could be a bit hectic than two. So I take my time with this one. And I also run out of content right now, which is also a big reason. In roughly 2 months, the Elden Ring DLC will release, and that's the big thing, right? I definitely want to do that next, as a next project, and in between these two projects here, Dark Souls 3 is almost over. It's just this DLC and the final boss fight of the main game. And then what? I mean, Drake's Dogma 2 is still there, but this game has a big problem in my opinion, or not only in my opinion, like it has a big problem. It runs fairly poorly, and I don't want to create another 10 FPS recording or something like the majority of the, what's it called? The other Souls style that I played, that I can't remember even the name, Lords of the Fallen, right? That wasn't fun to watch, probably. And yeah, maybe I'm doing some Drake's Dogma content. Probably not going to do a playthrough of the main story because it's fairly mundane. I think the story is quite boring. The gameplay is fun though. But yeah, I might do some talk videos about that game. That's going to be fine. But definitely not a Roads of Drake's Dogma 2, while the game is still running poorly on my PC here. But yeah, today we will tackle this DLC. I don't know how many episodes I make out of this DLC. Probably, like, my thought was like 4 or even more than that. So keep that in mind. I might also... What could also happen is that I start uploading this until the DLC comes up. The Elden Ring DLC comes up. For example, right now I'm trying to upload every second day or every other day. And I might make these gaps in between episodes a bit bigger. Like 2 days in between episodes maybe, or maybe 3 days, I don't know. I need to get a feeling for that, and I also need to see what there is. Otherwise I would just end this DLC now, or end this project now, and then there's like 1 month nothing. I don't want to do that. I want to have some content at least there. The problem is also like I want to play these games, right? That's a requirement. I don't want to do another Dark Souls 1 playthrough, for example, because I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that. I need to have fun with these projects, and I'm having fun with this one. With Drake's Dogma, I don't know if I would have fun with that one. Probably too, but we will see. Maybe you have some ideas. Maybe there are some games that I want to play but just don't know it yet. maybe you have some suggestions. But yeah, let's start with this one. We ended the last episode over here in the boss arena, where we fought Ariandel and Sister Frida. And before we visit the next DLC, I want to have a look at something, because she was part of the Sable Church. And I want to know if Yuria has something to say about that. Because I've killed her sister now. Maybe she's mad or something. I want to know that. Or maybe she just doesn't care. Let's see.
Ah, our lord and liege. 'Twas the soul of my sister, Elfrida. A poor wench turned to ash, who would abandon Londor.
Oh.
If thou wouldst, let it nourish thy lordship, and in return do her one small kindness. Remember those who stayed by her to the end, in the shadows cast by fire. And lastly, my lord, take up thy rightful mantle of usurper.
Okay.
Be safe, our lord and liege. I prithee.
So she's not even mad. She might just be a little bit sad, but not mad at all. But yeah, let's quickly get the scythe here, because I want to test out that weapon. What was the weapon thing now? This one, this one. Let's just test things out. I still have this mod installed. Nope, that was the wrong one. Maybe upwards. Yeah. Okay, where's the scythe? Where is the scythe? I might just get these as well. Crow quills, and there were claws as well. Or Lionheart as well. It's easier to upgrade these weapons like that. I'm not taking any weapons though that I haven't found yet. Come on. What else? Scythes over here. Don't really care about that one. And the other weapons from the DLC are not that special, but the scythe, let's go. Where is it? Over here. Nice. That's a cool weapon. Okay, now we can finally enter the DLC. Over here. That is going to be fun. I really like this DLC. It's a really fun DLC. And we will meet a bunch of things, or we will see a bunch of things from previous games as well. There are two ways leading to this DLC, or two paths leading to this DLC. Both end up in this room. One is from the first DLC, like I just did. This is path number one, and then the second path is when when you place all the what's it called? Or the cinder, or the cinders of the lords on the thrones. A cutscene will trigger. You're in another place. You're getting teleported in another place, and then there's another bonfire that also brings you to this place over here. But here we are in the Drep Heap, and isn't this awesome? This apparently is what happens if the fire is fading. Everything is basically just a big old dump, and it is being squished together, I feel like, or slowly crumbling. But we can see a bunch of things, and yeah, the scythe is annoying me. The sounds of the scythe are annoying me. As you can see in the background, these are all the buildings. This is supposed to be like Lothric Castle over here. Fairly easy to detect the architecture. And then if we have a look in the background, we can also see some buildings moving slowly down the hill or something. Like they're actively breaking down slowly. The world is falling apart, basically. But this is also where multiple worlds meet each other, which we will see later on as well. Now let's quickly see at these 2D textures if there's anything that we know already. Maybe from past games. Like these paintings are all distorted. And I don't really... that could be everything. This kind of looks like... this might as well be... oh no, it's not. I thought this building over here was like where we fought Lorien and Lothric. But the bridge part over here looks slightly different. But yeah. Maybe we can find something interesting in here, but I don't think that's the case. But yeah, where are we right now? We're in the future, technically. Or not necessarily in the future, but... where's the sun? I want to see if we can see the sun somewhere. Because it's not the same sky. Let's have a look at that later on when we're somewhere over there. Because it feels like there might be something of interest where the glowing is coming from. But let's talk to this pilgrim over here.
Oh, your head's square on your shoulders, is it? I thought that clamoring tin can was the last, but here we go again. What is it you want from this old stone-amped hag? I've nothing for you, not a smithereen. I just like to stand here and take in the view.
Now let's have business with her.
Well, that came out of nowhere. You think an old stone-amped hag would be brimming with goodies?
Yeah?
I've none of that, not a smithereen.
Oh, you certainly have something interesting. The split-leaf greatsword. Which is not a greatsword, but whatever. A long-handled greatsword. It's not a greatsword. A long-handled greatsword that made its way from a distant land. Crafted entirely with steel, making it exceedingly heavy. Which is not good, by the way. It's not good that it's extremely heavy. Split leaf refers to the shape of the great blade and its resemblance of the veins of a leaf. It has the skill Wind Wheel, spin weapon vigorously above head and sweep foes and transition with normal or strong attacks for continued spinning attacks, which wipe up wind and gain momentum, strengthening subsequent attacks. Pretty cool weapon. Let's buy it. And let's keep talking to her. The stone-humped hag.
At the close of the Age of Fire, all lands meet at the end of the earth. Great kingdoms and anemic townships will be one and the same. The great tide of human enterprise, all for naught. That's why I'm so taken by this grand sight. This must be what it's like to be a god. Oh, if you just can't stop yourself, at least hear this. Far below, there's a deep, dark hole carved out of a tree. From time to time, voices brim from the depths of the cavity even now. Mutterings of the very demon that Prince Lorien spoke of, I'm sure. Horrible sounds of an afflicted thing, yet cursing men. At the close of the Age of Fire, great kingdom, this. Keep your mark, at least until I lose mine.
Okay, she's basically telling us what's happening here. The End of Fire is ending, and this is what happens when it ends. Up to this point. In previous games, it never ended up to this point, or it never came to this point. Or at least not while we were playing actively. But this is basically also what you see when you bring back all of these cinders to their thrones after the cutscene. This is also something similar that we will see, just at a different point. But now we have a DLC to play, so let's see what we will find here. Take the plunge, a message from Gale, telling us where to go, marking things with, I think, part of his armor or something, with some cloth. We can easily jump down these parts because, I mean, I think he created like magic circles over here that protect us from the fall. Or at least this time the ash might be feathering our fall, but over there might be, or at some other parts of this place there are some magic circles, especially in the boss room. Let me quickly go back up again though, because I think I've missed an item around this corner. Yeah, I've missed an amber. Ooh. But yeah, now we are currently in Lothric Castle, or what's left of it. And here we will find some enemies that are luckily new to this place. Things coming out of the ground, shooting with deep magic at us. Very peculiar. So, level design wise, let's start with that. A very, very vertical level design. We will see a better example for that soon enough. This is quite vertical. This is probably the most vertical level they've ever designed, which is pretty fun, which also means that there are many points of no return. So you definitely want to make sure that you grab everything in one stage before you transition into the next one. And this might become a bit more difficult later on. But right now it's fairly easy. This is the point of no return. This looks very unsafe. You basically just, you don't want to step on this part over there, because you can already see the coloring of this piece of structure is quite different than this one, which means that this is collapsible. And we don't want to step on that quite yet. Over here we have some dead dragon, similar, if not the same, that we've seen in Dragon Lake Castle. One of them for sure. There were a few dead dragons. We have another new enemy type over there. A very strange thing indeed. A fat one with humanity as a head. And quite tanky indeed. Quickly grab this one. And let's see. I think I need to turn off something before we can proceed. Like this, okay. Let's see if I can... Ah, I missed him. Oh well. You can plunge on top of their head and deal extreme damage to them. Up to this point we sadly don't know what these things are, but soon enough we will probably find something that tells us what these things are. Here we get the Aquamarine Dagger, a new weapon of this... first new weapon of this DLC, or second new weapon of this DLC I should say. This is the second one. The first one was the... not really a greatsword. The split leaf greatsword, which is more like a... what are these weapons called? A glaive? It's a stick with a blade on top of it. And you can somewhat poke with it as well. Feels more like a Asian weapon. Oh yeah, this is the Ash of War, or the skill. Looks quite strange, the movements the player does. If you spin in the opposite direction, you can create something very strange looking. Oh yeah, just a regular halberd type moveset. Sadly we got the spin, but then if we press R1, we're doing this, and if we press R2, we get this cool move. Pretty unique, pretty cool weapon. Not my favorite though. And the Aquamarine Dagger. Seemingly just a regular dagger. For some reason we're not poking with it, which is strange. The heavy attack should be a poke in my opinion, similar to... is it the Mailbreaker? Yeah, similar to this one. But in two-handed, here we have some... here we have the pokes, luckily. Also, this looks very strange, to be honest, this especially. But the main part happens if we put the skill. Now we are getting this blade. Which is just so cool. But I think it costs FP. Which is not so cool, to be honest. Let's read this. Let's read the description. A dagger fitted with aquamarine crystals, engraved with a prayer and the old tongue to ward off incident. To ward off incident, what? Perhaps it was a parting gift given to one sent off on great travels. Again, that's not really telling much, even though, I mean, it's telling us that it's engraved with a prayer, which is quite strange because it's a magic type weapon and not a faith weapon. That's unique. The skill is Crystal Blade, release magic from the aquamarine crystals, creating a fleeting blue crystal blade, lengthy enough to swing as a straight sword. Sadly not that much lore. Just emphasizing on the fact that different worlds meet at this point in time. But yeah, let's just jump down this part over here. Oh no, I couldn't grab the item. And we're smashing through a window, and here we can see the magic circle that prevents us from taking fall damage. So Gale planned for this as well. He made this possible for us. Ooh. Some of them can even launch themselves as big blobs of human drags or something. I don't... yeah, no, it's human drags, right? And it appears that we are currently in parts of the Grand Archives. We have a bunch of books here, these windows. They quite look like... yeah, this could be the Grand Archives. For certain parts of the Grand Archives. Ooh, the Murky Handsive. We need to read this one. But first, let's make sure that we're not being interrupted by these enemies over here while reading the item description. Man, I really like this weapon. Okay, you can breathe, but don't make any other sounds. Murk Handscythe, a short shafted handscythe wielded by the Merkmen who rise from the depths. Enveloped by a black dampness and imbued with the strength of dark. It has quickstep as a skill. It's basically like the harp, just a bit more corrupted. Even better scaling. At least strength-wise, whatever. So these are called Merkmen. Yeah, they're basically manifestations of the deep faith that we've seen in the what's it called? Cathedral of the Deep. Now let me quickly turn down the volume a bit, because it's going to be loud. Oh nah, let's not do it. Let me torture you with the sound as well. Because here something curious happens. And we will definitely have a look at that thing with the camera soon enough. But yeah, let's keep going. Luckily we are getting some of these... Nah, I wanna talk. Luckily we are getting some of these structures blocking the path towards the angel that for some reason is attacking us. Oh, he no longer sees us, isn't that nice? Let's see what it's doing. It's just praying. Seems like it. They definitely also have another attack where when you stand too long in one spot where they can't reach you, they will try to curse you, which is not very nice. Let me grab the lightning urn though, and also the ring of steel protection level 3. Oh hello, another Merkman. And while you can temporarily kill these guys, you can lock onto them. And if I... Do I have any spells with me right now? Where can I see this? I do in fact have a spell with me. Do I have an upgraded bow? Nope. This one is upgraded though. Let's see. Come on. I don't know how many attacks it takes, but yeah. You can temporarily get rid of them, but at some point they will respawn because you haven't killed the host of the angel. Let's see how long it takes for them to reappear. Come on. I know you want to respawn. Come on. Okay, while we're waiting until the thing respawns, let's talk about this small bombardment gauntlet over here. Can I work on these? I can. Oh, there he is. They're being resummoned. Okay, let's not talk about this over here. Let's talk about this over at this point where you can no longer see us. Because it's quite dangerous, right? You have to be a bit careful with the way you're moving. You probably want to move in between the bombardments, and you luckily have this one stone that is blocking the path to the angel, so that you can take cover. Because the projectiles are flying quite quickly, and even though you might run, they can still hit you. They're that fast. I don't think the angels are pre-aiming. Maybe I'm wrong with that. Maybe they are pre-aiming. What I mean by that is, like, when they see you moving in this direction, for example, they're not shooting at your current location, but like 1 or 2 meters in front of you, so that they're going to hit you. They might or might not do that, but certainly when you're running, they still can hit you fairly easily. So it's nice that you have some cover in between these two places over there. The fall is probably the most dangerous one, because if you probably want to jump once he starts firing, so that you land while he is pausing with the firing. Because you're taking, like, when you're landing, you have the landing animation most of the time. Not if you can roll in the during the right moment, then you're skipping that animation, but most of the time you have the landing animation, and then he probably will hit you at some point. But let's keep going. We will have a look at him later on. Let's keep going into this building. We're still somewhere in Lothric Castle. I can't really remember, or I don't recognize this place really. This could be any place. It's definitely Lothric Castle though. If we have a look at these statues. And then we also have these Lothric Knights here, this time with different weapons as well. One of them has a banner instead of a spear. And these also have roots growing out of them. And I wonder what kind of roots these are, because I'm not really sure. It looks quite like they feel corrupted, but I don't know by what. We're also being introduced here by, sadly, a underutilized mechanic where Terran, or I don't know how to pronounce that word, it's very hard to pronounce that, but where the world is slowly changing while you're going through certain points. Because if you have a look at the corner of this room, there's nothing right now, but if we go out and go this way, this tower will collapse, and if you go back now, there is a path. There's a path here all of a sudden. which is amazing. I really like this. I wish this game would do certain things like these more often. Feels much more dynamic. Obviously, only do this if it makes sense, like in the setting, in a setting like this. Obviously, if you're going like if you're just exploring a, let's say, Lothric Castle, then it would be very, very odd if towers and buildings would just collapse. Just randomly, seemingly randomly. Of course you want to do this if it makes sense. For example, let's say there's a scripted event where the dragon attacks. Why is the dragon just landing on the tower and not destroying it so that you can... you can get deeper into the structure itself. Maybe the dragon is opening a door for you by just smashing it. Wouldn't that be nice? Or imagine if you, for some reason, had to go through the high wall of Lothric once again, if you had to do this, and then all of a sudden a dragon attacks, for example, and destroys parts of it, so that you can reach other parts of the high wall of Lothric that you couldn't reach before. That would make backtracking a bit more interesting and more intriguing, I feel like. But again, there should be a good reason why you are back in the high wall of Lothric, right? Why you have to backtrack. There should be a good reason. So loud. What do we have here? This black blob. Kind of feels like a pus of man, a petrified pus of man. Let's see if it's... Yep. There's certainly a maw over here. Oh yeah, and it bleeds if you hit it. Or is it the... Well, it's not the corpse. It's this thing over here, yeah. There's a pus of man, a petrified one. Interesting. More of these as well. They're bleeding if you hit them. Luckily these are dead. But let's go in here. Let's see, can we recognize this building anywhere? It feels completely new. This... no, it's new. It's another part of Lothric Castle that we haven't explored yet. I mean, this architect, or this room is reminiscent of another room, but I don't think it's quite the same thing, because this here is a balcony. We know this room from... well, it's hard to say. I know what this room looks like, but it's hard to tell you where this might have been, but... Yeah, this is the transitional room, but the door should be in the middle here. Here we got the murky long stuff, and yeah, these enemies are seemingly endlessly respawning, so you might want to go through here quite quickly. Because otherwise they're draining your healing resources. For some reason we have a hidden path over here. I'm not really a fan of that, because these shouldn't exist in a place like Lothric Castle. At least not in parts that look like these. Amber over here, quite useless. Oh. Probably the first time that I've seen this ladder there. Lets me believe that there is more to this room than just this ladder. Because it feels quite useless. Because we're already at the end of this part. We can jump down there. Which makes sense. There's an item over here. Covered a certain ring, okay. Quite useless. But okay, we got 2 items here. In this part. And why is there this wooden structure on the outside? The reason is of course so you can jump to this other balcony, but why would this be here? I'm not a fan of these outside structures. Of these outside wooden structures to be honest, but you already know this if you're following this series. Because why would you build something this unsafe on the outside even? Feels very, very weird to me. But yeah, we got a long staff, the murky long staff or whatever it's called. It's a casting tool, right? Yeah. The long-handled staff wielded by the merkmen who rise from the depths. Slathered. Is that how you pronounce that? With a black murkiness and fit for dark sorceries. Has the skill Chant from the Depths. Works with staff equipped in left or right hand. Briefly boosts the strength of dark sorceries. Basically just like the steady chant that most, if not all, catalysts have. These strengthen the sorceries in total. This is only for dark sorceries. Yeah, pretty good dark sorcerer stuff, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's even higher scaling. Oh no, it doesn't. Never mind. And now the spell. Great Soul Drags. We also have Great Deep Soul. This is literally firing drags. Looks like a much more raw version of the already raw and yeah, of the Deep Soul. This one even has eyes. A sorcery that fires great dark soul drags that have stewed for ages far within the deep. This sorcery is the highest form of Deep Soul. Some of the merkmen who rise from the depths are possessed by soul drags, which have a grave likeness to the human form. Grave likeness. So this is basically... I wonder if this is what... If these things are what nibbles at the blind people. Like Irina, for example. If you remember what Irina says, like she's afraid things are biting her, nibbling at her, basically. Maybe this might be something that is lurking within the deep. And you're basically also in the deep when you're blind. You don't see the light anywhere. Maybe that's what she sees and feels also. Maybe that's what... I mean, that would make sense, because you also can teach her dark miracles, which also have roots in the deep. So it would make sense for sure. But maybe I'm also off with that. Hopefully not. Yeah. Okay, but now let's have a look at the angel over there. Let's stand here and take out the camera tool. There we go. First of all, the angel. Why is it spinning? Head not really existing. Like the skull is bashed in almost. You can still see the features, or it got new features almost, like the left and the right eye and the face. You can still make it out. For some reason there's this weird root. Almost feels like they got impaled by this as a projectile. Skin is gone. Almost again feels like a... What is this person called? HR Giga or something? Like a horror figure from him. Very organic looking, very emaciated person looking thing. Not quite human though, if you have a look at inside the skull or inside the parts that are leaking out, or that are exposed, there's not much matter left. They're basically just this one thing. Then no legs, kinda resembles a insect almost, right? Oh, it doesn't even resemble an insect, it is an insect. If you have a look, like the feet, they're still feet, but there are many feet. Many small feet, so these things are insects. Oh, that is disgusting. Then the abdomen from behind, having a false set of wings. Stop spinning around, like these are insect wings. The blue, greenish, turquoise colored things. And then of course these angelic wings that look almost demonic in nature, even though these are white and with golden particle effects. Looks quite demonic, this creature. And then the host, because we need to kill this thing that spawned the angel. We can see this one is growing out of the bag shell of a pilgrim. So this is what happens if the thing on their bag, their shell, breaks. That got reinforced by chains. You can see the chains are no longer surrounding it because this one broke out of its chains. And it also looks partially like an insect. And also partially like a human. You can see the human features here. Everything is gone. It looks very strange indeed. Also something out of a horror movie or something. Also has wing or insect-like features. This growth on their back looks like wings, just more fleshy. Very strange indeed. This feels like a lava state, almost, or pupa or whatever. Like this is the pre-evolution of that thing. But it's not really, because these are connected to each other. Because as we know, if we approach this thing and it tries to defend itself and has a few tricks up its sleeve. Don't you have some miracles as well? Come on. For some reason I thought this one had like Wrath of Gods or something similar to that. Maybe the others have, let's see. But if we get rid of this one, we can see the angel dies as well. Twinkling Titanite is what we get from that. Very peculiar. Very strange indeed. But it's first, if we have a look here, we have to jump down from here up to this part. And I don't really want to do that yet. And I think here starts a part that I don't necessarily like about this part, because it requires you to backtrack in order to get every single item, if I am correct. But let's first get over here and see what we're getting out of this place. Because here we have an NPC. Let's talk to him.
Oh, look at you. You've got your head screwed on correct. Fantastic. to meet a kindred spirit on this god's forsaken crag. Call me Lab. I can't remember my real name, so let's just go with that. I have a feeling we're going to make a fabulous team. Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
Of course, this is not Lab, this is Patches, but he seems, honestly this time, to be in quite a pickle. Like, he's not trying to trick us right now, he really lost his memories. Probably by falling down something. I don't know where he found that armor. And his different weapon set, because he's using like, I think the... Yeah, he's definitely using the new split leaf greatsword. And as a shield, if I remember correctly, the cursed ward great shield. And of course this new armor set.
Oh, in all honesty, there's something I should tell you. I'm hollow. Yes. I try to play it off, but I haven't a clue about my past, who I was, or what I lived for. Not even my own blessed name. That's why I've come here, searching for the Purging Monument. Said to be in the Ringed City, where the pygmies who found the Dark Soul at the Dawn of Fire reside. All I can say is, those little stones aren't doing much to help me remember anymore.
For some reason he knows of a monument, called the Purging Monument, that is located in the Ringed City. A city that we now first heard of. Like, I don't even know why I'm here, I'm just exploring, right? Up to this point at least. Because this new bonfire just appeared, teleporting me over to this place. So, I want to find out the secrets of this place. I want to just go through, and also apparently Gale wants me to go through this place for some reason. Like, I've done what he asked for, like show the painter the fire. I've did this, but up to that point then Gale just vanished. I never could tell him what I did for him. I couldn't get my rewards, and now I see him, or see his image here, telling me to jump down certain ledges.
Well, that's the long and short of it. So if I completely forget who you are, don't be wroth with me. Come on. What else can I say? I'm a bloody hollow, for heaven's sake.
But apparently he didn't even hit his head, like he turned solo. We've known that from Dark Souls 2, that in particular with Lucatil, they slowly but surely forget who they are, what their purpose is, and well, that's what turning hollow is all about. You're forgetting things, you're forgetting yourself. And he's starting to forget himself. He already forgot who he was. And now he's someone different. But I wonder who told him that this Purging Monument exists and that can somehow turn him human again? Or at least giving him back his memories.
Well, that's the long and short of it. So come on.
But okay. We just came over here, and now we have another choice to make, so let's see. There is the thing, tells us to jump down there. There seems to be nothing, then we can jump down one further. Oh, I just dropped down. Whoops. And now I have to decide, do I want to go to this part where the big creature is, or do I want to go to this part? Because I can jump down there. And the answer is I want to go to this part, of course, but well, technically I want to do both because there's an item as well. But let's jump down here first. Quite deep, but you will survive this because of the ash lying down here. And this one leads further into... projected heal, very nice. Need to read this. Just a big drop here. And then projected heal. A miracle discovered in the last days of Lothric. Toss a light that heals those near the point of impact, even those who had forgotten the caress and bounty of the Princess of Sunlight did their best to recall her image. The stories spun about her were most certainly childish, yet gravely sincere. And down here, more Lothric Knights. Especially dangerous version with the red eyes. And then finally we get the Lothric War Banner. And I can remember a nice glitch that you could do with this thing. I don't think you can do it anymore, but let's first read the... Where the fuck is it? Huh? Oh, there. Almost not. Maybe wasn't able to see that. It's quite thin, the icon there. The flagpole that once carried the Lothric crest and guided the knights long ago. The tip of the pole is fitted with a sharply pointed decoration, letting it serve as a spear, and it has the skill Lothric War Banner. Wave the flagpole high in the air like the days of yore, summoning an ethereal war banner that invigorates the attack of those who gather under it. It's basically just a damage buff. But the interesting thing that you could do, if I remember correctly, you could buff your... I think this weapon with bleed or something, and then use the skill, and then you had an AoE effect that around you that affected friendly, like core partners and such, and started to build up bleed on them. You could basically grief your party, which is quite the fun glitch. If you're doing it with friends, of course. Let me quickly return to the bonfire. And then go the same path again. Sadly it's up here, but... well, what will you do? I had to backtrack now. And there is no other bonfire close by. And this is something that I don't really like, because there was still this one item. I think it's just upgrade material, but still. There was this one item that I couldn't pick up, and I'm not a fan of that. And now I have to run through this level once again, just to get this one item. If I remember correctly, yeah, the angels are not appearing if you kill the host. They are gone for good, which is nice. But these knights are back. Then lab should be gone here. Yes, that's good. Let's jump down here and then jump down where Gale wants us to jump down. To this part, there's nothing over here. Then to this part, there should be a few items over here. Not over here though. It just smashed against the wall. Quite the strong creatures. Holy shit. Now we get some homeward bones over here and the titanite chunk. I wonder if the homeward bones are there to tell you that you're supposed to go back and look at these areas up here, at the secret area. I wonder if that's a sign to you, like, oh no, maybe it's something else. Because what could happen, right, is that you're not, if you just keep going, if you think the tower falling down is just an aesthetic thing that is not creating a new path for you, this one over there, if you didn't see that to begin with, you now got the chance to teleport back with the homeward bone, and then with your next during your next time going through this level, you will discover that the wall is broken, and then you might take this path. A quite nice detail to put homeward bones here, even though it's probably not the thing that players think about. Ooh, homeward bones, I should use them. Maybe there's something else. That's probably nothing that you think about, but still, quite a nice thing. And now the biggest, or possibly the second biggest jump of this place. Because we can jump down here without dying. Ooh, quite fun. And then we're in Dark Souls 2 right now. This is Earthen Peak. And this is also where I want to end this episode in a short time, or shortly. Because, as I said, I want to divide this into shorter videos. Or into shorter intervals. But let's quickly talk to Lab over here before we end the episode, and before I'm talking a bit about this level that we just went through.
Oh, I know who you are. Great to see you still in one piece. I can see why they call this the Dreg Heap at the world's end. Mangled remnants from every age and every land. It actually sort of lends credence to the old rumors that the ringed city rests below it all. Don't mind me. You needn't worry yourself with this nonsense. I just wanted to tell someone, and I'm sick of old Humpty. I should stay quiet. Wait, I'll make it up to you. By letting you in on a secret of sorts. Past here, you'll find the remains of a giant earthen tower, half submerged in a poisonous swamp. Not a very nice place to visit. Only, there's precious treasure in the thick of the swamp. I didn't have any use for it, you see. So, sorry, I left the whole package behind. If I get the chance, I could go fetch it for you. But if that's too long to wait, go nab it for yourself. I know who you are. A righteous warrior. Yes? With a solemn duty to boot. Well, grab that treasure. That's as good a duty as any. Past here, you'll not a very nice. If I get the chance, I know who. Well, grab that treasure.
Good old patches. But this time not trying to lead me into a trap, even though this place is a big ass trap. But probably just telling me out of... like, because he's being nice. But yeah, let's talk about the level that we just went through. Because there were quite a few new enemies, and even the old enemies were new. But let me get rid of the scythe, because I don't want to hear the icy twinkling every time I take out the scythe. But yeah, starting off at the very top, making our way down the Drep Heap, slowly but surely. Luckily we got Gale telling us where to go, because this is quite the new concept. Usually when we jump down somewhere we are taking fall damage or even lethal fall damage, so falling down was up to this point something to avoid. And now now we need someone to tell us where to go, because especially this fall over here would be something that you shouldn't survive. But luckily we have these magic circles cushioning our fall, which is quite the nice mechanic. We also see Gale back, or we also see Gale again, knowing that he wants us to go down this path. So we also already know that we are on the right track, even from a lore perspective, or on a NPC questline perspective, I should say, because, well, it's fairly obvious that we need to keep going through this level in order to discover whatever we are going to discover in this DLC, whatever this DLC has to offer for us. The level itself is, even though it's very vertical and has a bunch of points of no return, it's still fairly linear. Only right now at the very end of, well, this episode, we had the path split itself up just to end in the same area down here. But both paths having their own unique drops, or not drops, but item distributions. Granted, the hidden path gives better rewards, like the miracle, the what is it called? The projected heal and the Lothric war banner, and the other one just what was it, upgrade materia and homeward bones. But still, we had a choice, and we could take the choice. We also got two, if I remember correctly, two very small side paths. One leading through the building with all the mercmen that endlessly respawn, which gives us the great drag whatever spell over here. The great soul drags, and the other part gave us the aquamarine dagger, but these are very, very short side levels. But yeah, up to that point it's very linear, or up to this point over here. We will see in the next episode how this one looks like, how open or how linear or whatever this area is going to be. I can already tell you this is going to be a bit more open, a bit more hit and run tactic like area thingy design. Whatever I want to say here. Enemy wise, every enemy we've encountered so far is new, even the old ones. Not necessarily. I mean, the Lothric Knights were still the same, they're just a reskin. And technically the spear version has a new weapon, but they're technically the same, even though they got a reskin with the roots growing through them. But the other enemies, we get mercmen, different forms of the mercmen, some of them being possessed by the deep, or by deep drags, whatever. Some of them being able to harness the power themselves without being possessed. So different versions of these as well. And then we get the big dudes with the curved greatsword, whose name we don't know yet. right? I'm not naming them. I know what they are called, but I don't know that yet. At least we got 2 of them. One standing near the aquamarine dagger, the other one spawning out of a black puddle from the ground. What else? We got our first angel. Sadly, not the last one. There are 2 more, technically 3 more in this entire game, if I remember correctly, but 2 more that are going to be dangerous. Then, is there any other new enemy? I don't think so. Markmen, the 2 big hulky dudes, and Lothric Knights, if I remember correctly, and the angel. These are the enemies that we've encountered so far. 3, or every enemy except 1 is new so far, which is pretty nice to see. Sadly, the streak does not really continue, because over there we already see old faces, like the poison insects, whatever these are. And then later on we also find, like, what are they called? Thralls as well. But we'll encounter them in the next episode, as I said. What else? World design. Not much to tell here. It is literally that what the hag, whatever, told us. This is basically worlds colliding, meeting an end over here together when the fire slowly fades away. This is what happens. So not so much world design wise in that sense. The level itself is actually fun to go through. But world, like, okay, everything got an ashen hue, everything slowly turns to ash. Not much to talk about that. Like, we are basically just going through destroyed Lothric Castle once again. A place that we already knew. Over here is Earthen Peak. And so on. But yeah, let me know what you think about this episode. Especially let me know if you have any ideas what games, or what I can talk about, what games I can play until the DLC, until the Elden Ring DLC comes out. Are you interested in Dragon's Dogma, even though this is going to be a fairly leggy affair, or maybe you want to see another game? I'm not promising that I will play this, because as I said, I want to play games that I want to show games that I want to play, and if it's a game that I don't want to play, then I'm not going to, because I still want to have fun going through that game. But yeah, let me know about all of that stuff, and I think I've said everything that I want to say to this point, so I see you in the next episode. Goodbye.